Welcome to the Soul Summit podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Prete. I'm here to help bridge the gap for women and families in the outdoors, build a community of adventure junkies, and roll out your weekly dose of positive vibes. With almost 2 decades in the health and fitness world and an untamable passion for hunting in the outdoors, my mission is to help you live your bucket list life and move boldly in the direction of your dreams. Meet us here weekly as I connect with like-minded outdoor men and women to discuss health and mindset, accountability, life and entrepreneurship, as well as all things hunting and epic untold stories. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Soul Summit podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Prete, and welcoming us back and kicking us off into season 10, we've got returning guest Kim Palmer-Nicks of Spear Strength Wellness. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm super pumped to be here.
Yes. Okay. Well, we had all kinds of shenanigans this summer together, but we did a little bit more of your backstory and kind of how Spear Strength Wellness and HOJ are connected. In season 9, we had that archery, fitness, and hunting with Kim Palmer-Nicks. So you can go back and check that out for a little bit more of kind of the behind the scenes, getting to know Kim. But in today's episode, man, we have a lot to uncover. Some like really exciting things from the event front and what we were able to do together in 2025, what we're going into for 2026. Also an elk hunt, a Hawaii hunt, like so many awesome things. So I'm just going to turn the floor over to you, kind of give us a little recap of what we've been doing since we last chatted on the episode.
You know, we've hit the ground running for 2025, and I will say being I guess doing the opening season 9 for the Soul Summit podcast and now doing the open season for season 10, like, hey, this should be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, 2025. And this hunt season was a lot of learning, a lot of highs, a lot of lows. Um, yeah, this year I had the opportunity to hunt in 3 different states, which my you know 5-year-old self, 10-year-old self would have never believed that I would be hunting in 3 different states in 1 year. So that was really cool. I hunted Oregon, Hawaii, and got to go to Montana with you for an elk hunt. Even though I didn't have a tag, I still considered it was hunting. I was hunting.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and I did a lot of fishing this year too. Reeled in a really nice halibut in Alaska, caught a couple of really nice rockfish in Alaska. Got a nice Chinook salmon off the coast of Oregon. Reeled in some of the biggest trout that I've ever caught. Yeah, got a really nice spring turkey this year. He had a 9-inch beard, which I was real happy to get a old bird like that. Um, Went hunting in Hawaii and got a nice sow, 25 yards, which was a fun story as well. And sadly, Oregon did not produce a beautiful elk for me, a beautiful Rosie, this archery season, but there is next season. And yeah, got to hunt Montana with you to try to help you get an elk. And it was a year for memories for sure.
Definitely was. So many good ones. I want to kind of pause and back up to something that you kind of mentioned. You're like, my, 5-year-old self would be like, dang, Kim, like, look at you go, girl. Uh, what is that like to say yes to just like jumping on hunts that are out of state, out of your comfort zone, in areas that you haven't been, with species that you haven't hunted before? Where does the courage and like, what does that process look like for you to just like say, heck yeah, I'm in, like, let's do it?
I will say my bank account doesn't like it. But, looking I'm very thankful that I have a spouse who pushes me to chase my dreams. Right.
Yeah.
And this is something that I'm taking spear strength like in that direction of being a strength coach for females who hunt, right? For women who hunt. And it doesn't matter what game you're going after. It could be an elk, it could be a mule deer, it could be a turkey, could be, a mountain goat in Alaska. Um, so with this direction that spear strength is going and having a spouse who just is pushing me, she's like, go do as many things as you can while we can.
Yep.
It makes it really easy, to be honest. Like, heck yeah, like Montana, let's go. Alaska, let's go. Hawaii, let's go.
Yeah.
And as long as my pocketbook allows me, I will make it happen.
Definitely. I love that yes kind of spirit too. I'd love to know so then how does it go? Okay, you've got an amazing supportive partner who's like, heck yes, the answer's yes, go for it, which is amazing. I'm so blessed to have a partner who's equally as like yoked at like being like, he is my cheerleader. He's like, go for it, say yes, do the things. So that's so great to have that. Shout out to all of those supportive partners out there. So you say yes, you're going to do it. Let's say, for example, the Hawaii hunt, you're going over there as a hunter, so the stakes I would say are somewhat higher, right? Like there's a level of like study and research and digging into, okay, what is this species going to be doing? Are they rutting? Like how am I going to approach this animal when I get over there? What does that look like for you? Are you, do you have kind of a set kind of way you approach hunting a new species and kind of getting that information before you get to that hunt?
Well, thankfully you are one of my friends and one of my resources. So definitely like asking you like, hey, what are they doing? What's going on? How do you hunt this? What is the area like? So you are an awesome resource. And then a lot of YouTube, right? So like really trying to be specific about okay, what is axis deer in May? Like what are they doing, right? And try to find YouTube videos of hunters who go and hunt axis deer. And if I can't find anything, then I go to the Hawaii regs and definitely go there, read all the regulations with the different states. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter like what state you're in, read the regulations because every state is different. And then I'll even look at some what biologists are saying too. Um, you can usually find that on the Hawaii like fish and game or whatever state you're hunting, the fish and game. You can find all of the biologists like papers and stuff like that. So I am a little bit of a nerd when it comes to that, but
Mhm.
I would much rather go into a hunt knowing what I am hunting. Who am I hunting? Hopefully it's not a who, but what I am hunting and how they're acting because you know, I am a foreign person coming into their environment. So I want to blend in as best as I can to their environment rather than just sticking out like a sore thumb, right?
Mhm.
If animals aren't used to I don't know, hearing a zipper, hearing a buckle, hearing whatever, then okay, I need to limit my presence there so that they know that I'm not there.
Mhm. Yeah, so good. Yeah, and it's great. So you talked about mentorship, having somebody that you can call and be like, "Hey, I know that you've hunted this animal. Like, what are your thoughts? What are your recommendations? Hey, I'm going in this, time frame. What do you think they'll be doing? What can I expect? What is the weather?" I mean, there's so many different elements that go into that. So, you know, online forums, wildlife biologists having, their notes kind of as access points to how am I going to go in there and be productive and successful in the field? And I don't know that I have anything too much to add on there other than if you can go there and just absorb as much as you can, even if you're like, man, year one, I might not have the success that I'd like to, have long term in a spot like this, but I can read the animals, I can watch their behavior, I can see when they're moving around, feeding, bedding, etc. So as much as you can, it's like we can absorb all of the information then implementation is what's next. Go do the dang thing, which you're very good at just saying yes to that. So I want to talk about, you said yes to 3 different states this season. What are some of the things that stand out to you in the 2025 hunting season?
Oh gosh. There's two. There's two that really stand out. And one is well, when we were in Montana, like being literally surrounded by several bulls just bugling their heads off. Oh my gosh, like they were running hard,
Yeah.
like 16 plus hours nonstop. And that was so freaking cool. I mean,
Mhm.
it was pitch black, but waking up in the middle of the night to a bull bugling so freaking close to our tent, like that was just really cool. I was like, oh, I got goosebumps in my sleeping bag. I'm like, oh, he's so close. And then go back to sleep, you know?
Yep.
So that was really cool. That was, oh, yeah, that was definitely a highlight.
That was a
Oh,
huge highlight. Oh my gosh. Like I've hunted elk like around 10 years or give or take. And that was one of the best rut fests I've ever encountered. It was I mean, if you're not sleeping because you're listening to bulls surrounding your tent, just bugling, I'm like, that's an okay reason to lose some sleep right there.
absolutely. Yeah, it was so cool. Like it was if you were to watch a YouTube video and just like the contemplation of different bulls just going back and forth, right, cutting out all of the gaps and whatnot, like that's what it was in
Oh
real
yeah.
life.
Yep.
Yeah, so cool. Um, and then the second one, it has to be Hawaii, and it was it was more of like just the group that we went with, right? It was really cool because I don't think I've ever hunted in a group like that where everybody were women, which was freaking awesome. But also everybody had a mission. Like, okay, the mission is to get something down, to fill the freezer. And how encouraging and just purely just pumped how
Yeah.
everybody was. And I mean, thankfully we had service. That was really cool. So that was something that I have never had is service while hunting. And then us just texting the group like pig down, goat down, another pig down, goat down. It was so cool. So just it was so encouraging and just the camaraderie around that hunt was so much fun.
It really is neat when you're in a group like that who has so much like genuine like love and encouragement for one another. It's like the moment that a text would come through that, so and so had something on the ground, it was like you could feel how overjoyed everybody was. Like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to get back to the house and sit around the table
Yeah.
in the carport as we're processing meat and like hear the stories and like how did it go down and how was the pack out and like that kind of excitement. I mean, I think sometimes, we hear people say or we might say ourselves like I am as happy if not more happy when somebody else is successful in the field and man, I've just like was just flooded with this kind of memory this year of how many of those messages we've got. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, look at my first archery bull elk, my first elk ever, my
Yeah.
first velvet buck with a bow, just like, oh my gosh, like these women and I don't know, I just got on a soapbox for a minute, but I'm just thinking about how empowered and capable and self-reliant this group of women is and how cool that each one of us, whether we've been hunting our whole lives like yourself or we're, adult onset, if you want to call it that, we're all getting to learn little bits and pieces from each other.
Absolutely. The learning never stops.
No, it
So,
really doesn't. It's like and there's always something else we can learn. Like I will never, that's a cool thing. And like there's no possibility of ever knowing all of it as an outdoors person, a hunter. Like you're always going to be having a new experience or a situation that's going to teach you, something that might refine your skills. Pretty neat when you think about it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was so cool. So, yeah, that memory is going or that experience is going to stick with me for a really long time.
Do you feel like as a hunter, you've grown up like you had said in the last episode that you did with us, this is how you grew up. right? This is not new to you. But do you feel like kind of as you've morphed into the hunter that you are now, as you've joined some of these groups and had some of these experiences, can you pinpoint anything that, has really evolved for you as a hunter?
Mm, I I guess I would have to say like being almost being a chameleon when it comes to hunting with different people. Right. So growing up, I mean, I hunted with my dad, right? It was my dad and my brother, and we did what dad said, right? And then whenever we got a little older, then we were able to, go off by ourselves and stuff, but we still mimicked what our dad taught us.
Hmm.
And then coming in and having hunted with dozens of women now, not everybody hunts the same, right? And
Yeah.
so being a chameleon in that aspect, like it's you have to pivot, right? You have to pivot as a hunter, not only like on the field, but even like with your hunting partners. Um, yeah, so that's I think that is the biggest thing that I have learned from, a young a young hunter, right? Was hunting before I could say the ABCs. Um, you know, to now and also just the terrain. The terrain is so different. Whether if you're hunting the west side of Oregon versus the east side of Oregon. I got to hunt the east side of Oregon for the first time and man, that is nice.
Yeah.
And then just seeing how big and open the elk country is in Montana. Holy moly, like that was a cool experience too. So not only having to pivot as a hunter with your hunting partners, but also having to pivot as a hunting athlete, right? So you have to be able to withstand all different types of terrains if you are hunting those different states. So yeah, that was a big one for me this year for sure.
I want to touch back on the point you were talking about, pivoting with new hunting partners because that can get very messy.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I feel like any of the groups I've ever hunted with or any of the new hunting partners that we've invited in, it's always gone well. But I do feel like there are some uh, pre-hunt communications that need to happen, good expectations outlined. Talk to me about what it looks like when you are saying yes to experiences with new hunting partners. What are some ways that you kind of help ensure that it goes smooth and the expectations are clearly talked through?
So how I kind of go into it is I like to take a back seat for the first hunt. I like to observe, and that allows me to learn the other hunter. How are they hunting? What do they like to do, right? And then I'm able to best match that and also just leave the ego at the door, right? Like I'm not we have a similar goal, and that is to fill the freezer.
Hmm.
And ego isn't going to do anything but get in the way. And so, yeah, I like to take a step back. I like to learn and observe what the other hunter is doing, and then best match that as best as I can. And then, hunt from there. But also, if I'm the one who's kind of taking the lead, then I mean, if I had the option, I'll stay out there all day, right? But yeah, I think you really hit on it was there has to be communication, right? I'm like, okay, what are the expectations?
Hmm.
What are, what's the plan? What do you plan on doing? How long do you plan on doing it? And being willing to be flexible with the plans, right? So I think that is also a big thing because nature's going to do what nature's going to do, right? We can't
Hmm.
control the wind because we might make this gorgeous plan, right? And then we wake up, we start hiking towards our plan, and then the wind was like, oh, just kidding. I'm going to blow the other way. And then we got to pivot, right? And so having a plan B and C and D and E all the way to Z, right? Having a plan after plan and being able to I mean, I keep saying this word, but to pivot
Mm-hmm.
as best as you can and having that partner with you, like, hey, like we need to pivot, right? And yeah, I mean, I don't know if that answered your question, but communication and being flexible.
Yeah, so key in hunting. And we could definitely do an entire episode talking about building out hunt plans and what that looks like. I know Mark
Yeah,
Livesey, a good friend of ours, talks about that all the time, going into your hunt with a plan, a backup plan, contingency plan, all of those kinds of things. But, really communicating through it. And I think we'll probably end up doing an entire podcast on, kind of tips and ease of how to hunt with a new hunting partner, because it really is big. And I think that and that's something that we've also kind of refined over time is usually, I'd just be like, hey, you want to come hunt with us? And now I'm like, hey, you want to come hunt with us? This is our plan. This is how we do it. This is how we share meat. This is, how things are paid for, whatever the case is, like really talking through those things, because the last thing you ever want in any situation or relationship is to have that kind of miscommunication. And
mhm.
in something like hunting, where, emotions can be heightened and opportunities and there's safety aspects to consider, it's like you really want to know that your partner is strong and reliable. I think about what you say all the time when you're talking about fitness. And I hear Kim's echoing this, through these seminars you've done with us, is you're either an asset or a liability. And
Yeah,
both people, anybody in a hunting partnership, in a hunting party, should be considering, like, I need to come into this as an asset and not a liability.
absolutely. And I would also say that even like yeah, you can hunt with somebody and like enjoy them, all of that, but you may not be good hunting partners.
Hmm.
And that is okay. Right. And so I think I know I've had that experience that outside of hunting, we get along great, right? So like me and like a whatever, like we'll call her Susie. I don't know a Susie, but we're gonna call her Susie. Me and Susie, great,
Yep.
great friendship outside of hunting, but we don't hunt well together. And knowing that and being okay with that, like that's okay. We don't have to hunt together. So I think that's also something that needs to be, I guess spoken to, that it's okay to not hunt with people who you don't like to hunt with. You can still be friends with them,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
you don't have to hunt with them every single season.
And the goals really kind of need to align on a hunt. Like sometimes it's experience based, sometimes it's, X, Y, or Z. But I think if you have two people who, are good friends outside of a hunting situation, but have vastly different goals when it comes to the hunt, there's a pretty good chance that there's going to be some hiccups, or something that happens within that hunt. So good point to, just kind of knowing the intention why you're out there and what each person wants to walk away from the hunt with. Very important. We're definitely going to do an episode. We need to do a whole episode on just talking about how to hunt with new partners. Um, we talked about some of the moments that really stood out to you this season, and highlights, so to speak. Was there anything this year? And I think the answer is probably yes. And I think we're going to talk about it in one of these next stories. But was there any big takeaway, like lesson learned, like, oh man, I would do that different?
Oh yeah. There's a couple of things. So in I made a list as as we were leaving Montana of like, okay, what did I learn and what would I do different? And I would say the biggest one, well, I won't say the biggest one. The top four. All right, top four is it doesn't matter how good of a spot looks. If the elk aren't there, they aren't there. Move. All right. And like you can't force elk to be somewhere where you want them to be as much
Hmm.
as we want them to be. Yeah, you got to move. And that's where having plan A, B, C, D, elemental P, all of that, right? Having plans after plan after plan.
Hmm.
Um, that's actually one of the biggest things that I learned from you and Dustin is okay, like my backup plans need to have backup plans. So of just location and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just blowing a bugle tube ain't gonna do nothing. Right? Like you have to learn the language of the animal you're pursuing. And that goes back to our earlier question of, hey, look at the regs. What do they sound
Yeah.
like? What are they doing? What are their habits? Um, so learning the language is going to exponentially make you a more successful hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that the biggest one, don't let your guard down
Mm-hmm.
ever. Right? Even when you think there is nothing in there with you, there is.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let your guard down.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And I know why you're talking about that. So we'll just let's kind of frame up Montana a bit here. So, my husband Dustin and I had archery bull tags for a unit in Montana, and we had spent, I don't know, we'll call it 10 days, give or take, over there, and had a really good first trip over, and good action. My husband was able to put his arrow on a really beautiful 6 point bull. We had lots of good close encounters, bulls running in. They were really responsive to calls, running pretty good in that second cycle. And then my husband had to go back to Alaska to guide brown bears. So I was kind of quietly beside myself going, oh man, like the day we left and had to come home, we weren't even supposed to hunt anyways, but we had spotted 7 bulls in this spot the morning we were supposed to be leaving. I was like, well, lace up your boots because Courtney's not going home quite yet. And we went out there and we got within 30 yards on a herd bull, and we'll uncover all of the nitty gritty from this first part of this trip in Dustin's episode on here this season. But so we get within 30 yards. I don't get a shot opportunity. It's like just a beautiful bull, probably 350-inch bull, just gorgeous. I'm like, yes, please. I want more of this. So we leave them on the mountain and have to drive home. And I'm just kind of like, oh my goodness, like I have to go back. I have to figure out how I can go back. And over the last few years during archery season, like something's crazy. Like we're selling our house, we're building a house, we got to reside the old one, just like, so September this year was like my shining light. I'm like, I'm going to do all of this. And so I was like, I got to go back. Oh, Kim's a yes girl. If I ask Kim if she wants to go back to Montana and do some calling for me and be my pack out buddy, I think she's going to say yes. And sure enough, Kim was like, hold my beer.
Let's go.
Going to Montana. So we go back in here, and you've alluded to this. We went and checked the area. We left them, didn't find them. And then we just mobilized. Okay, we're going to check here and here and here. We're looking for a fresh sign. Don't find them. Boom. One of the 3rd or 4th spots we checked, found them. Okay, here they are. So we spent a few days in this area, and I'm just going to kind of give the entry point to this conversation. So it's like Rut Fest 99. Like we're not even sleeping. The bulls are outside of our tent. We're like, I mean, this is just an amazing situation. And we're just waiting for one of them to kind of slip up, so to speak, and give us an opportunity on this public land piece that we're on. And we're in there, right? We're seeing all this elk sign. Things are going well. We're so focused on them. They're screaming, they're fighting, they're running these cows all over. We're like really focused on these elk. And what we're not seeing is any real predator sign, right? We know that there's in Montana. We know that there's lots of bears. We know that there's lots of cats, wolves, whatever, but we're not really seeing the sign. And so what happens for me anyways, and I think you can probably speak to this as well, my guard just starts going down a little bit. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to kind of go in there and not really care too much. And so we were in there, and I think I was on day 3, if not, I don't know, maybe 4 of pistols in camp.
Yep.
Great spot for that, huh? And we're out one day, and we had done some calling a little bit earlier that morning. Elk went to bed, kind of, I don't know, 11 o'clock, 10:30, something like that. We moved spots to where we thought we might catch them crossing a trail. They had been running so hard that I thought, man, they're going to, if we find this game trail that they're using quite a bit, the chances of one of them breaking off from this rut fest and coming to bed past us is pretty good. So we go, and I think Dustin takes a little nap at one point. You take a little nap at one point. I close my eyes for a little bit, and then I'm gonna just pitch this over, just like that pine cone that fell into your court, Kim. So we're sitting there. We're about an hour in. Next thing you know, I hear Kim go, and I turn around, and what's happening at this point, Kim?
Yeah. So back, right. So we, I think you wake up from your nap and both of us get a snack and a pine cone drops. And you make the comment, that's the most action we've seen all day. And, or, both of us are like, yeah, actually, it is. And yeah, so picking up where you left off, you go over to where Dustin was, which is maybe like 15 yards from me, right? And where my pack is. And I stand up and I started to make my way over to y'all, but then I was like, no, I'll stay over here just in case. And I turn around and there's a cat staring at me. And in my brain, I I'm not scared. Like it didn't scare me. And I was just like, holy shit, that's a cat. And you didn't hear me the first time because I called your name and you didn't hear me. And so I'm looking back at you, looking back at the cat, looking back at you, looking back at the cat, and that's when I made the sound and like you whipped around. I'm like, cougar. And in my mind, I thought I was being loud-ish, but you said I was whispering and I was again, like I wasn't scared. I was fairly
Yeah.
calm. And I didn't want to raise my voice because I didn't want to startle it because like you said, we've gotten laxed and I don't have my pistol on me. I have a snack in my hand, just kind of here kitty kitty psst, psst, psst,
Yep.
right? Um but I slowly start to back away again, just keeping my eye on
Mm-hmm.
the cat, eye on you, eye on the cat, and you're making your way forward towards me just ever so slowly. Um, yeah, and you look at me and you're like, elk? I'm like, cougar. And you're like, I just see your face, like your eyes got really big, and you're like, what? And we finally met, and you're like, holy
And I can
crap.
see it at this point. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
I can see it as soon as, yeah, as soon as I tuned into, like, I know that I heard you say cougar, but in my head it just was like, I don't want to say far-fetched, but I was like, I must not have heard that correctly, right? Like, you're
yeah,
just not expecting that. That's not something that I just naturally would expect you to be like, oh, hey, Courtney, there's like a cougar 15 yards just staring at us looking at its chops. I just wasn't
yeah.
expecting that.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, and the thing is like it was downwind of us too.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what really got me. It was like you were downwind and yeah, so you yelled at Dustin like get your pistol because I don't like he did the same thing. Like he didn't necessarily believe us. I was like there's
Mm-mm.
no way. There's he's downwind if he's over there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you were like, get your pistol. He grabbed his pistol, and both you and I just watched this he was a big cat, just kind of slink back into the
Yep.
woods. And yeah, Dustin goes first with his pistol. You go right after him, or you might have been reversed with your bow. And I have never felt so defenseless because I didn't have a pocket knife in my pocket. I didn't have my pistol on me. I still had my snack in my hand,
Yeah.
right? And I was just like, this sucks. Um, and in my mind, I was like, I could grab a rock, I could grab a stick, but luckily it didn't have to come to that point. But yeah, it was so eerie looking back at it. Like
Mm-hmm.
in the moment I was fine, right? Again, like my heart rate didn't go up. I was super calm,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. I was just like, oh, there's a cat. And now reliving it, I think my heart rate is a little elevated now. It was like, oh my gosh, like that could have been bad because the same week, right? A couple of female mountain bikers in Washington got attacked by a mountain lion. And so just I guess coming back to civilization, hearing that and realizing how how much I had let my down. I need to be better.
Hmm. I mean, it's just wild to me. Like it,
Yeah.
and when you say like we weren't scared, we were just like, it was just matter of fact. Like
Yeah.
there's no like craziness happening. Like there's a cat right here. Like we're just focused on what we're gonna do about that. So yeah, when I tell Dustin, I'm like, cougar, I say it twice just like you did. And his face was just kind of like, huh? Like what?
Yeah.
And then when I said lion, get your pistol, it kind of like he was like just thinking we had seen one in passing, right? Not that it's like
Mhm.
literally crouched down in front of us.
Yeah.
And, really to kind of go off of your point too, it's more creepy and puts a little bit more of a fear, probably a healthy fear in me now than in the moment. But I was reliving because, like I said, I wasn't carrying my sidearm anymore, which I always do, like legitimately always have one. So my guard was so far down in this situation, um, that I thought, well, isn't that interesting that like 2 hours earlier I had looked at you and Dustin. I mean, I'm the only one with the tag. You always feel a little bit bad when everybody else has to kind of be in it too. And so I said, if y'all want to go back to the tent and just kick it for the day, I'm just going to stay out here just to see if I can cross paths with somebody. So what was my plan? Had I been out there or had one of us, for some reason been out there solo, that
Mhm.
situation I would venture to almost guarantee goes not a good direction, right? And
Yeah.
so it's not one of those things where we're like, oh my gosh, so scary. Like, cats are going to creep on us every time. It's just like, no, what can I do better in this situation? And for me, I think about it as a mom, a daughter, a wife, like I need to do a better job, whether it's, the safety of the elements or the hunt or the predation. Like I need to be making sure that I'm going out there with a plan to come back.
Yep. Exactly. And yeah, I mean the fact that of how comfortable we were without even realizing how long, like we don't even know how long that cat was there, right? Like it could have been there the whole time that we were there just watching us and we took a nap with a cougar, right? Just staring at us. Um and the fact that it was within 15 yards from where I was sitting, right? It's just like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, that could have ended really poorly. And exactly what you were saying of I need to be better and I need to have a plan to come back and I need
Yeah.
to be aware. And it's not like every time we go out into the woods. I mean, we've been hunting all of our lives and have never had that encounter before, but that doesn't mean that it won't happen again. And so I think that was look beyond the pine cone, right? So back to the pine cone, the cat was in that direction of the pine cone where that was the only action we've seen to that encounter. But yeah, having being more prepared going out and just realizing like I'm not the top dog in the woods.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I would just, highlight that. It's like don't let your guard down,
Yeah.
right? And I would also add to that, even if you're not seeing the sign,
Yes.
right? Just because you're not seeing it or seeing them does not mean that they're not in the area and that's not
Mhm.
always a threat. I think that's something that I've really kind of been trying to imprint is that just because it's not obvious doesn't mean it's not actually happening.
Yeah. Exactly. And we didn't hear them come in either. So that's another thing. Like just because like you don't hear anything or you're like, "Oh, I'll hear it coming. I'll hear a twig break or something." No,
Hmm.
not always.
Hmm. And for that thing to creep in so close to us,
Yeah.
I mean, really so close to us before we ever saw it. And it wasn't like it was thick but open. Like think jack
Mhm.
pines, where you've got a little bit of underbrush, but I mean, other than the pine, the trunks of these trees, you can see quite a bit, and we did not see him coming.
Yeah. And also like that cover also because we were focusing on the distance, right? Looking be through the trees, looking
Mhm.
beyond the trees. We check close too because I almost dare say that if I had looked in that direction, but I was looking through the trees, not close at me, I don't know if I would have seen him because he blended in so well.
Mhm.
So yeah, just checking the depth as well, right? Your sight depth. Like yes, you want to look through the trees, you want to be looking further, but also check close too.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, such a good point. Um, yeah, such a good point. Good reflections. I think, do you have anything that you want to add on to that, like big takeaways or anything that you're going to do different moving forward? I mean, I think I can probably speak for both of us when I say we'll continue to carry those sidearms actually on our persons.
Absolutely. And knowing that, so afterwards you called Fish and Game or Dustin called Fish and Game and let them know. So I would also do that. Like I would have never thought to call Fish and Game and just like, hey, just so you know, there's a cat that was actively hunting us.
Hmm.
And so I would do that in the future as well. Yes, carry a pistol, but
Yep.
also if another cat comes within 15, 20 yards of me, I'm shooting.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Had we been prepared, we would have executed a shot, and that was really what that trooper had relayed to us as well, is like, I want you to know you could have killed that cat. You had every right to do so. And it wasn't necessarily because we had questioned any of that. We were not prepared to do so.
Yeah.
Otherwise we would have. But anyhow, yeah, I think that was just a wild situation. I'm
Mm.
thankful that it happened because um, it's it's just a really good lesson to learn. Like,
Yeah,
thank goodness we didn't, things worked out as good as they did, because now we just have, a lesson, and we go, okay, we're going to do better next time, as opposed to, having something traumatic happen to one of us.
absolutely. Yeah, we thankfully we do live to tell the tale.
Hmm. Absolutely. Let's There's so much to talk about with this elk hunt and all of the different things, but I want to move to gear. Kind of talking through gear. It's something we're going to be kind of focusing on with season 10 of the Soul Summit podcast. Gear choices that we love, gear choices that we hate, ones that we thought were going to hold up to the challenge, ones that didn't. So did you add anything new to your arsenal this year? And walk us through if there's any top gear picks and any wish you would have never spent your money on them.
Um, yes, I added a Digiscope system. So I use the All-In system, OLLIN, and it's a great for big country. Like it real like Montana, awesome. I could also see myself using it in Hawaii. Not so much on the western side of Oregon, right? So there's not really too much big glassing areas, but I will still carry it. So I really think Digiscope is really nice. And I don't have like, a spotting scope. I have the system that just goes on my binos, on my binoculars, phone hooks up to it. It's great. So that, and I also added the Invader holster. So
Hmm.
yeah, just on the chest. I will say that it's kind of annoying having so much stuff strapped to my chest, right? So I have the holster, I have the binos, and then I have my pack. But also like I like because of our previous story, like I won't go anywhere without it now. And I did find that that is the most comfortable place for me to always have the pistol on me.
Hmm.
So I can drop my pack. My holster isn't attached to my pack, right? It's attached to me and it's not attached to my binos. I tried that for a while and I just did not like it. It got in the way and I didn't like it being attached to to my bino pack. But actually having it separate, attached to myself, it was it was great. I think that was a highlight for sure.
Yeah, I run that same recon by Invader Concepts. I have for, gosh, we've had ours for a while. Uh maybe 4 or 5 seasons, something like that. Anyhow, I couldn't say enough good things about it. The ease of carry too. I think that that's really nice. Yes, there are moments, and depending on how the hunt's going for me, typically gauges my annoyance of all my gear, right? Like the
Mm.
one day I was like, I hate wearing a bino harness. I actually love my bino harness. That's my number one gear pick. I run the FHF modular system. Love it. But one day I was just like, I hate everything that's on my body right now. That's just because the elk aren't cooperating, Courtney. It's not because you hate that gear.
Yeah.
But yes, to your point, having that on is great because when you are, whether it's later in the day, and it's dark and you take off your bino harness, like you still have access to that right there on your chest.
Mhm.
It also works really well, even though it's not directly integrated into those bino harnesses. Most of them seem to really still allow the retention, obviously, but also the access point to that recon harness, I think is really great. Just got to carry it.
Yep,
Just got to actually
exactly.
put it on in the morning.
Doesn't do any good in camp.
That's right. So yeah, such a great piece to add into the collection. They make a variety of different ones that attach to your, actual waist belt on your pack. They also have the guide now, which is one that attaches kind of through the bino harness where it lays lower, like think, your belly button and kind of lower. I haven't tried that one yet. I'm curious to, though. I'm going to actually try that one out just to see how much it might make sound on the waist buckle of my pack or if it gets pinchy at all. So I'm going to try that one out definitely. Anything else that comes up for you as far as gear pieces that you loved or hated?
Mm. This year, I didn't really love my pack. Like, it started squeaking. Like, and it's like the frame itself started to squeak. And it's never done that before. And so I'm like, what the heck? Like, is it already breaking down? I mean, I've had it for 4 seasons now, 4 to 5 seasons. And I don't know if it's just, yeah, again, breaking down, but I was really, really disappointed that my pack started squeaking.
Mm,
So, yeah, I mean, I even had you test it. I'm like, is there something that's
yeah.
loose or whatever? And you're like, nah, it's your frame.
Hmm.
So I'm like, great. I guess I gotta start looking at a new pack.
Gotta start looking at a new pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the packs that I've used in the past tend to, over time, kind of get a squeak. I actually saw some gals talking about that on social over the season as well. Hey, anybody have this specific pack and does it squeak? And I thought of you actually when I saw the post. I was like, yep, she has the same pack and it's talking to her. It's actually saying like, Kim, I need weight in here. This is too
Uh,
light.
I know, right? I was like, shoot, I wish.
I am loving when it comes to gear, the bow stand on my Hoyt. It's so nice. And I thought honestly I was going to take it off for the season. I'm like, oh, I don't know if it'll get caught on underbrush or, whatever. It's so nice though, because so many times, whether I want to just like walk up to a spot and set it down in glass or whatever, it just has limited how much I'm moving to bend over to pick it up or put it down. And it really, really came in handy. And I like that it folds up pretty easy too. So that was, I was going to say, probably my number one. I loved that gear piece this year. I also borrowed Dustin. He got a gift from Seldovia Fishing Adventures, who he works for up in Alaska. And they gave him one of the Montana Knife Company knives.
Oh.
And my husband is so sweet. He's like, here, babe, you can process my elk with this. So that was really nice. I was actually very impressed. I've always wondered if the MKC was a bunch of hype,
Hmm.
or if they really made, good blades. And it seems like from that experience, they make a pretty dang good knife.
We won't talk about the process of breaking down my sow in Hawaii with your pocket knife.
Oh, pocket knife. Well, that pocket knife has since gone to live in the TSA confiscated bin. So I no longer have that knife, but I do have one that is very sharp and very ready to process. So you just give me a call when you need something else processed.
Excellent. That probably needs to stay in the TSA bin.
I've also been trying a bunch of pants lately. I'm
Ooh,
really doing some digging into what kind of pants I want specifically for early season. So I'm gonna have to circle back on that. I've got a bunch of different brands. I love my Sitka gear. I've been running them a long time. Super durable. Love their stuff. Really still trying to find the right pants fit though.
yeah. Yeah. I'm also in the pant hut. So yeah, I mean, I have the First Light. I think they're the 308 pants before they updated. I haven't tried the new or like the updated ones, but um man, these pants have been through a lot and they still hold up well. So I mean, I'm gonna run them into the ground, but I that they are on like the thicker side. They're not
Hmm.
lined or anything, but they are a little bit more thick. Um, so yeah, so early season pants. I'm also on the hunt.
Hmm. Yep, we'll
Yeah.
have to circle back in on all of that. If you're listening in and you have a pant that you absolutely love, send us a DM on Instagram. Let us know what
Mhm.
it is and where we can check it out. Definitely look forward to that. Let's talk real quick nutrition.
Yes.
Nutrition, you could talk about these hunts for this year. Are there any great like trail snacks that you found that are your go-tos?
Electrolytes and gummy snacks. Uh, it was just yeah, electrolytes are such a big thing. I'm a super heavy sweater. Like I am a sweaty monster for sure. And so finding electrolytes that not only taste good, but also have all of the proper electrolytes
Yeah.
like balances, right? Because a
Hmm.
lot of them they'll have a lot of sodium in them, which is great. But then again, we're like, oh, but what about magnesium and
Right.
calcium and chloride and potassium, right? um Not calcium, chloride. But yeah, so finding that balance and I've been testing a couple. First Form is also really good. I'm affiliated with them. I don't love the flavor. They're a little too sweet for me, but I really do like LMNT. People say that it's super salty, but I kind of like the salty. um and then, oh gosh, Liquid IV. I mean, Liquid IV is also good. Some people don't like it because it has 10 calories, but if you're in the backcountry, and I mean, 10 calories is nothing, right? So that's fine. Also like a good protein bar. I am hooked on the Bear Bells. The Bear
Mm,
Bells protein bars are so
so
good.
good.
So yeah, that's a nice little
They're
sweet treat.
they're straight up like a candy bar. Like
Yeah,
when I eat them, I'm not like, oh, 20 grams of protein. I'm like, this should be smothered with ice cream. Like this
yeah.
is sinful.
Exactly. So I'm all over those. I love those.
Yeah, definitely. Those are delicious. I'm
Mhm.
also loving, you can buy them in, I think, like a 6 or 8 pack at Costco. They're just sweet potatoes. They come in individually packed containers, and the only ingredient is sweet potato. Like it's just sweet potatoes. They're cold. Maybe people with texture issues wouldn't love them, but they're just a simple, ready to use carb. I've been really loving that. And then of course I always take cheese. I don't care how hot or sweaty it gets. I always take some string cheese or like those little cheese blocks or whatever. Those are definitely my go-to. And also
Yeah.
shout out for all of like the trials of, is this going to be the lucky drink? Is this going to be the lucky snack?
Oh yeah.
I feel like one of the most exciting things about hunting season, and I love hunting season, but it is the fact that I get to call everything a lucky
Yeah.
hunting snack and test it out. So I'm talking donuts, we're talking chips, we're talking every energy drink made to man.
Yep.
What are those sinful things that you said gummies?
Yeah. They're called the sour strips. Oh my gosh. They were so good. And those gummy snakes that
Hmm.
you got that were like sweet and sour,
Yep.
those were real good.
Hmm.
Um yeah, I'm a sucker for gummy snacks. Diet Coke, like I freaking love Diet Coke, especially at the end of the day, right? Coming back from the hunt, you're like, oh, Just crack a cold one. It's a Diet Coke.
Mm-hmm.
But that energy drink that you got from Black Rifle was really good. I really liked that one.
I also do think that that one was lucky. Like, I know we say that
Absolutely.
about a lot of things, but I think it was definitely lucky, despite it being mango flavored. Like,
It
I
was
don't
actually pretty
know.
good though. It wasn't bad.
I think that their white one was better. The Black
Okay.
Rifle Coffee Company makes these energy drinks. And if you are just by chance watching this on YouTube, then I will put a picture of this energy drink that I'm talking about. And I've actually not stopped. So every time I pull in for gas anywhere, and we've driven, I don't know, in the last 4 weeks, we've probably driven 6,000 miles. Every time we stop
Yeah.
for fuel, I have gotten out and gone to see if they have these drinks. So if you're watching it on YouTube,
Yep.
you'll get to see what I'm talking about.
Also, I have to throw in Robin's brownies. Holy moly.
Mm,
Those are lucky brownies.
those were so good.
They were so good.
They definitely were that like little pick me up. You know, we had a very long drive. I think we were in the
Mhm.
truck for like 24 hours. We
We
pulled over,
were.
slept for about 3 hours in a Love's parking lot. And yeah, woke up to a little brownie treat. Those were amazing. And I'm not even a big sweets person, but those came in a clutch for sure. But you were all over the place with HOJ. I mean, you've done a lot this year in general, but
Yeah.
you were really the right hand of HOJ this year. Did a bunch
Mhm.
of collab events with us. I'm talking all about fitness and getting
Mhm.
these ladies in their best shape for their hunts. You were one of the educators at the Women's Wilderness Summit in Montana. That was super fun. We can't wait to do that again. And we've got some really cool things coming for 2026. Our events, the HOJ events, will be launching November 17th. So if this is after that, jump online, heroutdoorjourney.com. You can see what events we have coming up. Kim will, of course, be there talking about fitness, and we've got some really cool projects we're working on this year, as do you with Spear Strength Wellness. Walk us through kind of what you're excited about as we move forward into 2026.
Yeah. So, first of all, I am so excited to be a part of HOJ in 2026. Like 2025 was so much fun for me being able to bridge bridge my two passions of fitness, right? And just being strong, having strength and hunting. Like, oh, I could be happy. Like, give me my dog, give me my wife. I'm happy, right? Um yeah, the Women's Wilderness Summit was so much fun. It was a highlight of the year for sure. And then yeah, so 2026, I am launching a group training for women. So I'm really excited about it, and I've heard, I feel like there's this gap with women who hunt, but don't necessarily want custom training, like one-on-one custom training. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I just want, like, I want a program that fits me. And I mean, Ed Milet says this best. You can best train or work or service the person that you used to be. And I mean, I am still that person of, all right, I want to get strong. I want to be fit. I want to be able to hike in elevations and keep up with you and Dustin. I need to increase my VO2 max. Um, that's going to be a goal for 2026. But being able to combine all of this for women and just kind of bridge that gap. So, semi-custom training, group training for women who hunt. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited for it to launch. It's coming down the pipe. It's getting ready. I don't have a hard date yet because I want it to be something that other women are excited about. So yeah, if that fits you, right? Like you are a woman who hunts, but also you're busy, right? You're a mom, you're a sister, you're a wife, you're all these things, right? And you have to have time for yourself.
Yeah.
I preach this to all of my clients. In order to be selfless, you first have to be selfish. It's the airplane motto, right? Put your mask on first, then help your neighbor. You got to do the same thing for yourself. As as a woman who takes care of the house, who takes care of her family, we often push ourselves to the back of the line, and that needs to be reversed. You need to put yourself first, so then you can show up better as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, as whatever, right? And so, yeah, I'm excited. Now I'm on a soapbox, so I apologize.
No, you're good. Well, where can people connect with you and kind of stay in the loop for that to drop?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at Spear Strength Wellness. Hop on my email list. So I'll be launching to my email list first, so they get first picks. Um, yeah, so hop on my email list. Follow me on Spear Strength because I'll be launching that soon. Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome. And you actually already have a free program out for women. Talk to us about what that looks like and where ladies can access that.
Yeah, so you can access it. In the link in bio, right, of my Instagram. I believe it's also in your Field Ready program, so that you have. But it's called Women Built Wild, and it's basically a crash course over the four pillars of spear strength, which is strength, endurance, fuel, and recovery. So I go kind of sort of in depth on them. I try not to overload, you too much, but it is a free PDF. It has, a breakdown of macros of fueling, how to fuel properly, how to hydrate properly. Taking a rest day is not a luxury. It is a necessity for you to continue to grow in strength, for you to get stronger, right? Just because you have a rest day or two or three does not mean that you are losing progress, which is,
Mhm.
I think, the biggest aha moment for a lot of women. You don't have to work out 7 days a week. You can work out 3 days a week and still maintain that progress.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's so much fun. So it's completely free. You can find it in the link in my bio. You can find it on Courtney's Field Ready program. So yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
So, last question I have for you. Well, it's probably a lie. It's probably not my last question. Anyhow,
It's fine.
thinking about your current training and having added 3 states this year, what are
Mhm.
you doing different to prepare for 2026?
Oh gosh. Well, I had mentioned my VO2 max. So yeah, having hunted in 5 states total, right? So we have Oregon, Montana, and Hawaii, but also hunting in Texas and hunting in Wyoming, the elevation is crazy, right? And so I live below 500, and just doing regular rucks or regular runs did not prepare me for elevation. It didn't. And so going into it, like I need to prepare myself better with just increasing my VO2 max so that I can so that elevation is a little bit easier. It's
Mhm.
not that my legs won't gas out as fast. So yeah, so that's definitely the big thing that I'm focusing on this year and focusing in my programs. I mean, it's I'll toot my own horn, right, and say I'm pretty damn strong, right? But man, I have the lungs the size of a baby mouse. And so thinking about how I can train for elevation while
Yeah.
living below 500 in a garage gym, right? It's challenging in my profession, or in my professional life as a coach,
Mhm.
but also it forces me to think bigger and to be more creative with my programming for my clients to better serve them. So Yeah, that's it. It's gonna look different. So I'm excited about it.
I'm excited too. And definitely, the cardio capacity is one area that I'm always looking to improve, of course, strength and mobility and those kinds of things. But for me, when I think about any potential, physical limitation in a hunting situation, it's that elevation piece. We
Yeah.
live right at 500 as well. And so honestly, anything over 5,000, I start to feel. And then spending, this summer 5 weeks at, around, we'll say an 8,000 average, I was starting to get more accustomed to it. But dang, there's got to be a way to a little bit better prepare for that because in some situations, you don't have time to do, a couple days of acclimating. You
Mhm.
just jump into it, get off the plane, get sorted, and you're hunting. Those things can be pretty brutal and a quick wake up call when you're actually out there in the field. So excited to see what you come up with and follow along with that training and then also see that group training that you guys have or that
Mhm.
you have coming out. You can find links to this in the show notes. As far as getting connected with Kim and following Spear Strength Wellness, and of course, all of that, the events that HOJ is doing. Any last parting words for us, Kim, today?
Oh gosh. Whenever you're hunting, think about having grit and having grace, right? So you got to be gritty whenever you're hunting, being willing to get dirty and to stay out to do hard things, but also have the grace, like give yourself grace for the decisions that you do make because there's a ton of decisions that you have to constantly be making whenever you are hunting, whether if it's, okay, do we go north or do we go south? Which way do we go? Do we go through the brush and risk it being winded, or do we go around the brush and it takes 30 minutes with potential of losing our pursuit animal? Right. And so all of these little decisions add up. And, I know that I can get caught in the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Oh, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have went this way. I should have went that way. So give yourself grace on the decisions that you do make. Learn from them, whether if they good, whether if they are good or bad, but also have the grit to just stay out there and get dirty.
I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect words of advice. Well, we hope that you all are getting after it, having an awesome season. And one of the things that we need to talk about soon is new recipes. I mean, I've seen lots of success stories, people getting game on the ground. I want to see some of these really tasty, can't pass up wild game recipes. So if you've got one, send it our way. We would love to check out what you're making for your families or yourselves at home.
The Soul Summit podcast is brought to you by Maven Optics, Baku e-bikes, Hoyt Archery, Onyx Maps, and Sawyer Products. For more information on these companies or to access the Soul Summit podcast discount codes, be sure to check out our show notes.